What it do, what it do. It's your boy Andre Spruell, and you are tuning into the Middle of the Fence podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, whether you're listening, watching, or both. As I like to say, time is the most valuable thing, so thank you for spending it here with us at Middle of the Fence. And today's episode is going to be focused on goal setting for 2026. Now, at this point in my life, I'm not someone that's a multimillionaire, 100 different successful businesses and notoriety and things like that, as of yet. But all jokes aside, I pride myself on goal setting. And for those that know me personally, discipline, and setting goals, knocking them down is part of my MO. So I wanted to share that value with you guys in this episode as we head into the year 2026. So if you want a different life in 2026, this is the blueprint. And before I get into any topics and advice to give you guys and things of that nature, writing down the goals is most important. And there's a famous Harvard goal setting study which claims that 10 years after graduation, the 3% of Harvard MBA students who set clear written goals earned 10 times more than the other 97% combined who had unwritten goals or no goals at all, highlighting the power of goal clarity, focus, and accountability. So before we talk about the future, we need to look back for a second. So reflecting on 2025 and things built so far. And for me personally, my biggest goal, which I achieved in 2025, was launching this Middle of the Fence podcast. So thank you everyone that tunes in. It means much more than you can realize. But it wasn't just launching the podcast. My goal was to release 40 episodes, and at this point it's north of 25. So I didn't reach the 40, but the fact that I took the action steps to actually launch it because I wrote it down, set a target, and went from there. And that is the biggest one for 2025 for your boy so far. And according to a 2021 study in Frontiers in Psychology, people who review their previous year's goals are significantly more likely to hit their next set of goals because reflection improves clarity and accountability. Why do I bring that up? Because it was also my goal in 2024 to launch this Middle of the Fence podcast. But the difference is that in 2024, the goal was just to launch it. And then for 2025, I got clear and put a specific target number to it. And that's what helped me make the difference to make it happen. Another thing, another aspect reflecting on 2025 was going alcohol free. And I'm going to get into this episode a little later about the roles that habits play in making or breaking the goals that you set out to achieve for yourself. But that was a big one. And it's not like your boy was in AA or had a serious drinking problem or anything like that. It's just more so for health reasons. Just, again, a lot of my goals this year were health focused, and I knew that cutting alcohol out would greatly help me with my physique and how I feel, energy overall, and things of that nature. And also, too, this year, learning discipline through real life responsibilities. So outside of the major goals, just how you show up for yourself every day, right? For example, not putting off washing dishes or cleaning out the closet for spring cleaning, and even down to the little minute details like that. And now that we've reflected, let's talk about why most people fail at goal setting. So I'm going to look at 5 aspects in particular here. And the first one, why people fail with setting their goals, is they're too vague. So again, the example that I used, right? Launching the podcast, or I want to lose weight, right? If it's too vague, you don't have a clear target. And the best example that I can give is, let's say me and you have bow and arrows and we're shooting at a target, okay? But the difference is that You're blindfolded and I'm not. Who has the higher chance of hitting the target more consistently? Obviously, the person that doesn't have the blindfold on, right? And the same goes with setting goals for yourself. If you don't have a clear target and don't get as specific as possible, then the goal basically becomes unachievable or not even a thing as a result. Second reason why people fail is no tracking or accountability. So I'm going to get into that a little more as well, but pretty straightforward with that. Whether that means creating your own system so you can track your progress on a monthly or quarterly basis, or to have an accountability partner, someone that is there for you. So when you slip up or you don't do what you need to do, then they're going to be the ones that, hey man, you said that you were going to hit the gym like 3 times this week and you only went once. So part of the deal, you owe me $20, something like that. And I tie in a lot of health and fitness because that's just the easiest one that a lot of people mostly can relate to. Third aspect of why people fail is unrealistic timelines. Okay, so an example of that is, let's say, again, you're starting a YouTube channel for the first time and you set a timeline of, in 1 year, I'm going to get 1 million subscribers. Is it possible? Yeah, it can happen. But something like that is just not as realistic. And when it comes to the unrealistic timelines, you also want to be careful of the other side of that, where you get too realistic and you set a goal that you know that you can hit, and then you get there, but it doesn't feel as fulfilling because you knew that you can hit that and didn't take that extra step to challenge yourself even further. And fourth reason why people fail on goal setting, and arguably the most important, relying on motivation. Okay, so when you're setting your goals for 2026 and beyond, you have to realize that you're not going to wake up every day feeling 120% and, giving it all you got and happy and all that. Some days you're going to feel like crap, because you're sick, or you just had the worst day of your life, or your significant other broke up with you, but if you just rely on motivation to hit your goals, basically relying on only feeling good and in order to hit your goals, you're just not going to do that. And that's where discipline comes in with that, with no matter how you're feeling, to push through no matter what. And then obviously the flip side of that, listen to your body. If you need time to rest and relax a bit because you've been grinding and doing your thing, listen to your body, because health comes first and foremost. And the last reason why people fail with goal setting is lack of environmental alignment. And that means your physical, social, and emotional environment either supports your goals or silently destroys them, right? And that can take on many different factors in and of itself. And there was a study by the University of Scranton, which found, shout out to a study by the University of Scranton found that only 8% of people who set goals manage to hit them. This means a staggering 92% of people fail to hit their goals. So, how do you set goals that actually stick? Let me break down some of the ways that can help you out with that. So, number one, set categories, okay? Because you're able to see which aspects or buckets that you want to add to in your life, right? So for me, the categories that I hyper focus on are health, career, financial, spiritual growth, relationships, and passion projects, right? So whatever the categories are for you, that's for you to decide, and things like that. Again, I am not an expert or studied in this, just personal life experience of doing this over the last 3 years personally to help out others that, may be struggling with this. And another way to make sure that you get that goal setting system set up for yourself is setting measurable goals. So the analogy that I used before of shooting the bow and arrow at a target, right? So you're able to literally see the goal or target that you're trying to hit and putting them in a quantitative state, right? So not just I want to lose weight in 2026. I want to lose 20 pounds in 2026. Not, oh, I want to buy a house. It's okay, I want to save $10,000 so I can have that for a down payment for my house. So putting an actual number and quantitative figure next to your goals. Another aspect, habit attachments. And this is arguably the biggest one, right? So when it comes to your habits, all right, because your habits either allow you to reach your goals and progress in life the way that you're meant to, or it's the opposite where it backtracks and negates you, right? So for example, some of the habits that I've developed, this first one is gonna, is not for everybody, but 6 a.m. workouts, right? For me, morning person, morning workout, I get that out the way. And then weekly recording blocks for the podcast, the journaling, the times that I set for journaling, the time blocks that I set for meditations and other personal habits that help and allow me to show up better so I can perform in the best possible way each and every single day. And the last aspect of a goal setting system to help people out is quarterly checkpoints, okay? So basically, you get 4 resets per year and four chances to course correct. And this is important because when we set long-term goals for a year, if you're not tracking it, like how I mentioned previously in this episode, then what happens is you don't take it as serious, you give it up, and then you set it as a goal for the following year, then the following year, then the following year, and then you're just in that endless loop of that, right? So it's important. So then that way, after the first 3 months of the year, you can see where you're at with your specific goal, right? And if you're on track, awesome. Keep going and riding that wave, right? But after the first or second quarter and you realize, hey, I really slipped up over the last couple of months, so I need to go extra harder in Q3 so I can stay on track and reach my goals or even surpass them, right? And this is from the British Journal of Health Psychology, which found that habit formation, not motivation, predicts long-term behavior change, especially when linked to identity. And that brings me to the real secret behind hitting goals: discipline. I really pride myself in discipline and joke and give myself the self-titled name of discipline disciple. But all jokes aside, self-discipline equals self-love, right? So when people view discipline, yeah, it's not easy and it is difficult at times, but I feel that it truly is the highest form of self-love that you can give to yourself, and being able to say yes to the things that are going to help make you better, and also saying no, right? Like sometimes, hey, it's late at night and the box of Oreos is screaming out for me like the Green Goblin mask, but I have to say no because it doesn't align with my health goals at the time, right? But discipline is a muscle that compounds, right? So the more that you are able to do the things that you say you're going to do during said times or said days and flex that discipline, it just becomes automatic, right? So for example, once you develop discipline with going to the gym and, time blocking, reading, meditating, and for me with the podcast scheduling, right? It gets to a point where you just get so many reps with it that your body just automatically knows, like, hey, it's a Wednesday at 5:30, and even though I got 5 hours of sleep the night before, body's just naturally going to wake up and be somewhat ready to get a lift in. And a 2020 study in psychological science shows that self-control, not motivation, is the strongest predictor of long-term goal achievement. So again, discipline over motivation every single time when building out your goals for 2026 and beyond. Now that you know the mindset, here's the actual blueprint for 2026. So I want to help the audience, whether you're good at it or not so good at it. Here's a step-by-step guide for what can be done, right? And the first step is writing 10 goals to start. And again, it can fall under any category that you want, but writing those 10 goals and having them visible so you see them every day, whether you put them up in your room, have them somewhere on your phone, at your job, in your car, just so that way it can start to feed the subconscious mind. And then you can narrow it down to the top 3, right? Because to be honest, no matter how many goals you set, you are not going to hit every single goal. Life happens to you, right? And so I would say out of those 10 to start, you focus on 3 major ones that you want to hit the most. So then that way, those are the ones that get the hyper focus, and the other ones get a lot of focus as well. But again, making it digestible and turning each into a weekly habit, which don't need to delve further into that. And then the biggest thing that I would recommend is removing a limiting habit. So listen, we're human beings. We're not perfect, right? So we all have habits that don't serve us, right? Me included. So you would be surprised how much of a difference it makes to cut out a habit that doesn't serve you, right? So in my case this year, it was cutting out alcohol. And I didn't realize how much it was affecting me overall. And I was able to have the best year of my life up until this point just by making that small change. Don't underestimate the power of removing a limiting habit that can hold you back from being the best version of yourself, however that may look like. And lastly, when building out your action plan, review it every 30 to 90 days. So either every month or every quarter, again, just so you stay on track and are able to hit the goals that you want to hit in this lifetime. And a 2023 UCLA study found that the brain responds better to incremental progress tracking rather than large singular goals, boosting consistency, right? So that is the big takeaway with this, is that we get so focused on the big long-term goal, make it digestible, right? The best example that I can use for you guys is, let's say you're eating a steak, okay? You're not going to pick up the steak and eat it whole, right? You're either going to choke or can't even fit it in your mouth. Pause. But all right, let me get serious. When you're eating it, right? When you're eating the steak, you cut it up because you literally can't eat the whole thing, right? And that is the best example that I can think of, right? And the science and studies show that it's best to set the goal, break it up along the way, see how you're doing every month, every quarter, whatever floats your boat the best, and just go from there. And you'll be surprised of how consistent you become, how disciplined you become, and hitting your goals and looking back after the year and be like, wow, I really did that. And if I had a plug to sell some, goal tracking sheets and all that, I would plug that in here, but I don't. So here's my final message heading into 2026 for you guys. Just start with whatever your goals are. Just start. Okay. Whether you start on January 1st or start before 2026 even begins, or let's say, hey, I set this goal, it's already March 2026 and I haven't done anything with it. Okay. Doesn't matter. Just start with whatever it is. Whether you have one major goal, 3 goals, 10 goals, 20 goals, just start. And I invite the audience tuning in to share what your top goal is for 2026. And for my top goal for 2026, I am safeguarding that because I want to let the results speak for itself. So thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. Hope you found this helpful. And if you had any takeaways and want to share what your top goal is, please be sure to message at Middle of the Fence on Instagram. You can email us as well, middleofthefence@gmail.com. And if you like this podcast, please be sure to continue showing love on the podcast streaming platforms. Leave a comment, 5-star rating, and follow. And on YouTube, at Andre Spruell. Go to the podcast playlist and you'll be able to find the full-length episodes as well as the best clips from the episodes posted so far. So thank you guys so much. Have a safe and happy new year. Try not to get too lit. And as always, no matter what side of the fence you grew up on, we're all more alike than we think. My name is Andre Spruell. Catch you guys next time.